Hi, this is Mr. Heineman from Evergreen High School, and this is for my Microsoft Imagine Academy classes. This is Excel 2013 Core, Lesson 5. So in Lesson 5, we're going to talk about looking at the worksheet in various ways and how do we change how we see the worksheet in the window. That includes freezing panes, that includes using multiple windows in the same area, um, zooming in and out, using different views, and then also preparing for printing, looking at headers and footers, seeing page breaks, adding page breaks, column and row titles, things like that. We can also figure out what cells are going to be printed and select specific cells that are going to be printed. So with that, we're going to begin our online exercises. So here we are in exercise 1, and we've got the Condo loan workbook open. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at some different ways to see worksheets and workbooks. In this one, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new window. So I'm going to go to View and click on New Window. And this actually opens the same document in a new window. So this is the same exact document, and if you don't believe me, I'm about to prove it. So first of all, we're going to arrange these vertically so that they're side by side. Okay, and now that we see them side by side, in this right one here, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. What this is this is a loan amortization, which means it's showing how much you would need to pay off the loan over the course of 240 months, or 240 payments, which is basically 20 years of loan of paying at monthly payments, if that's what you were doing. And right now the current loan amount is 1.5 million. I'm going to change that to 1 million even. And you'll notice that these numbers now changed as to how high the payment needs to be in order to pay off the loan on time. And we'll do it again. We'll go back to 1.5 million. And again, they changed. If I go up to 2 million, type that in the right box though. 2 million. Oh, payments ballooned. Or if I go down to 800,000, changes. So you can look at a document if you want to see, can't see it on this screen, but you want to see what happens when you change some numbers somewhere. You can always open it in two different windows. Have one window where you need to see and the other window where you need to enter stuff, and do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And then we're also going to look at preview. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize this for now. And we're going to go ahead and look at the page break preview. And you can see the little dotted lines here tell me where pages end. And the way it works is it'll print down first, and then it'll come back to the top and print down from there. And you see that our page right now is cut off right here. So we're actually going to change the orientation to landscape. And now we see that we can fit the whole width on one page, and then we just print pages, as many pages that we need to get to the bottom of the worksheet. So with that, we can save, and we're ready for the next exercise. So in this next exercise, we're just going to kind of look at things. We're not actually going to do anything with this worksheet other than look at it. So in this sheet, we have, it's a mortgage payment comparison sheet. And so these figures have been calculated using some of these pieces on the sheet and this function called payment. And normally, of course, we see the values when we use a function, and we can see the formula up here. So if I click up here, I can see how this payment function works. So it needs a rate, which is in this case an interest rate that we're borrowing from this row. divided by 12, because it's the rate per month in this case is how they're using it. So which is the rate we need, and then the number of periods, which is the total years times 12 for a total of monthly payments, essentially over 25 years. And then it needs a present value, which is using this value, which is the amount of something. In this case, I think we're doing houses since it's a mortgage payment. So these are possible values for houses. These are possible interest rates. And from those, we're calculating a payment for each month over 25 years. And so, as I said, normally we would need to, go to each cell and see the payment or see the function that's in there. But we can also display all of them using this button right here. So we'll make sure we're in formulas, click on show formulas, and voila, all the formulas are shown to make sure that they're all accurate. And then you notice that it widens all of the columns so that we can see the full formulas. And if I scroll all the way over, I can see all of the formulas that have been created. So we don't really need to see any more than that. We can turn this off and then close that without saving and move on. So we have open the ski resort snowfall document and saved already as the student version, and we're going to look at it and do some comparison, some formatting, various things. So you notice that this is a very long document, a very long worksheet. It also goes a long ways to the right, and when I get down here to the lower right, I can't really tell what I'm looking at because I don't know any column headings or row titles. So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to freeze some panes. So I have B3 selected, and I'm going to go up here to View and click Freeze Panes and select Freeze Panes. And so wherever I'm at, it's going to freeze everything to the left and above it so that I can scroll, and you see that the rows at the top, rows 1 and 2, stay put while the rest of the data scrolls so I can see what I'm looking at. Also, when I go to the right, column A stays put so that I can see what those mean as well. So that's one way to be able to see data when you have a lot of it. We're also you can also take a look in two different windows. So if I click New Window, it'll pop open a new version of this, of the same worksheet in that. And I can view these side by side. So select that. Now the thing is, when I do that, watch what happens. Oh, I have what they call synchronous scrolling on. When I scroll in one, I also scroll on the other, which can get kind of annoying, especially if you want to see different parts of the two worksheets. So I can turn off synchronous scrolling so that I could scroll down and maybe I could look at everything from 2015 here versus 2014 here. So it's useful for looking at a document and comparing different parts of a document that or different parts of a workbook that are very big. We're going to go ahead and go back to the single window. And now we can look at what it'll look like when we print. And you notice that it prints down and then to the right. And this would probably be better in landscape. So we'll go to page layout, change it to landscape. Still, that's 2 pages per, actually 2+ pages per, for just the width of the column. So we should probably figure out how to see all of it. So I'm going to scale this down, and I'm going to continue scaling down until I get 1 page on the whole width of the workbook on one page, and about 50% is where it takes me to. So it takes me down to about 50%. Not too bad. The freeze panes is kind of annoying me. I'm gonna unfreeze those. And it doesn't look too bad. I can still kind of read it, not too badly. But I know when I print the second page, I'm not gonna be able to see the names of the ski resorts, so I should probably fix that. So we're gonna go up here to page layout, and we'll click print tiles, and we're gonna repeat rows 1 and 2 at the top of each page. And that way we'll be able to see the rows at the top of each page. So now when I'm in print preview view, I guess here's view, page layout can help me see it too. You'll see that the rows at the top of the page are repeated on each page. Okay, and that way I can see what all those things mean. But it would be nice to make the data a little bit larger. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this row and all of these, and we're going to set the word wrap. And that way I can drag these and have the names wrap. Let's get it just onto 2 lines so that I can use 2 lines instead of 1, and that'll cut down on size. So now I can resize these. And even the ones that are single names, I can resize them so that I can fit a lot more on my on each page, and that way maybe I don't need to make the data so small, scale it so small. So we'll continue that. There we go. That way we can take advantage of using this to get all the data on there and see the data a little bit better. Because the actual data is just numbers, so it's not really hard to see. And it doesn't take a whole lot of space. And here we go, last one. Okay, so now if we go back to our print preview, our page layout, oh, back to view, there we go, page layout view. Now we can see that there's a lot more stuff we can fit on there, and perhaps we can scale it a little bit differently here to get more stuff on the page. So go back to page layout and see, now I can go up to 80% now, and I can see everything just fine. Almost 75 is what it looks like. So now that I'm up to scaling of 75%, that looks a lot better in terms of printing and all that stuff. So page layout view, a lot easier to see. Also in page layout view, I can change the header and footer. So we're going to add a footer to show the page number of each page. I like adding things like page number of and the number of pages. That way I know how many total pages to expect. So it'll say 1 of 5, and then you scroll down 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and so on. It's inserted automatically into all the pages. And then I'm going to go over here to the left footer, and we'll put my name. And we're actually going to make this slightly smaller than the page one. So that way it's not too prevalent, not too prominent on the page. Okay. And then I could print this. I'm not actually going to print it. It doesn't matter to you because you're just watching the video. But I would go file print, and I could send this to the correct printer and print it off. But I'm going to go ahead and just go out here, save, and finish, and we'll move on to the creative applications. So in this first creative application, we have the condo loan file from the first online exercise, and we're going to make some changes to that to prepare it to print. So first thing we're going to do is switch the view to page layout if you haven't already. Normally we're normal view, but switch to page layout, and then we're going to change the margins to narrow margins. And now we can add header and footer to the top and bottom. And for the header, we're just going to type in condo purchase proposed loan. And then at the bottom here, in the footer on the left, we're going to insert a copyright. Now, normally auto text or autocorrect would change our copyright there. You'll notice if you go up here to insert and symbol, it doesn't let you insert the symbol. So the easiest way is going to be to use some special keystrokes. So if you press and hold Alt and then type in 0169, and I'm typing this on the screen so you can see what to do. So we press and hold Alt, type 0169, it inserts the copyright symbol. So now we can do copyright 2010 Green Souls Adventure Club. In the center, I'm putting my name, and then on the right, we're going to add a page number. Now, if you go up here to footer and add page 1 of whatever, which is what you're supposed to add, it'll actually add it across. It'll wipe out your whole footer. So we need to add this manually. So it says page, and then we're going to add the page number, and then of, and then we add the number of pages. So that on every page, it'll format it as page 1 of however many, 6 in this case. That's what it looks like. Okay, but just like the previous ones, we have a bunch of numbers, a bunch of lists, and we need some titles. And we don't really need to print everything we see, just some, like, all the relevant data. So first thing we're going to do is go to the page layout tab, go to print titles, and we're going to repeat rows 15, 16, and 17 at the top of each page. But then also we're going to select a new print area, and we're going to select only columns A through J. Okay. And when we click OK, I go File, Print. You can click Show Print Preview, and you'll see what you'll actually see. And it won't print everything, it'll just print what I've asked it to print. So we can go ahead and save, close out, and move on. So in this last creative application, we are going to create a summary sheet for this workbook, this River Couriers workbook. So we're going to come down here to sheet 2, and I'm going to change the name to summary so that we know that's the summary sheet. And then I'm going to start copying information from this worksheet into the summary sheet. So we'll get the titles, we'll get all of the column headings, okay, and those are simple pastes. When we get to these values, you'll notice in these are some formulas, and if I were to simply copy these and paste them into this sheet, you can see what happens. It tried to copy the formula and have a reference to all of the cells above. So instead, we need to do it a special paste where we just paste the values. And we're going to do that for every month. So we'll go down here to February, copy, and paste the values. And then March, copy, and paste the values. And we're doing this because it'll be easier to see the total summary for the couriers in this one sheet rather than having to scroll down all these sheets. And then we'll also format it so it looks nice and get it ready so that if we wanted to print it for a report. And we're going to go ahead and grab both the June totals and the grand total. We'll leave that space in there. That's fine. Now that we've got all the information in here, now we can go ahead and start doing some formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and merge and center here. Let's bold. We can go up to like 16 with that. And then the cargo transported by boat, we'll merge and center. Go up to 14 with that. Okay. Let's go ahead and bold the headings. We'll go ahead and we will put borders around here to make it stand out, kind of. So we'll put all the borders in there. We'll also go ahead and put borders here. We'll go ahead and resize that column. And I think let's go ahead and do maybe a background color for these. We'll do gold. And I think that's about it. I think it looks fine there. So we would go ahead and save this and be done and ready to move on to lesson 6.